Morpho the butterfly.
Morpho the butterfly.
Morph, 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 morph.
Morpho the butterfly. Science rules.
Morpho the butterfly. Inertia is the property of matter.
Morph, 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 morpho the butterfly.
Morph, 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 morph. Morpho the butterfly.
Brought to you by
this butterfly.
So what is biomimicry? Biomimicry is the imitation of structures, forms, even designs and systems that we find in nature and applying them to our everyday lives. One of the most famous examples of biomimicry is when a bullet train in Japan disobeyed some pretty important noise laws. Specifically, this train, when it went through a tunnel, would compress all of the air in front of it, and then as soon as it exited the tunnel with the air, it would release a sonic boom that could be heard from over 400 meters away. That's way too much for a single train. So how'd they solve this problem? Instead of trying to come up with their own design and spending years and lots of money on it, they just looked at some systems that were already in place in nature. Specifically, they looked at the beaks of birds who needed to dive underwater in order to get their prey.
This is where their efficient design is utilized to the maximum.
Because these birds needed to dive, nature had already perfected a system where the beaks were of a certain shape where they'd create a minimal splash. This minimal splash effect was similar to what the bullet train needed in order to make minimal noise.
因为我们出行更方便了，给我们又多了一个
Not only does the bullet train with this shape now make minimal noise, it's also more efficient and it's faster.
Now about nanotechnology. Now the name itself is quite self-explanatory. It's basically looking at extremely small things,
And things are made of stuff.
especially those of less than 100 nanometers. Now we can manipulate nanotechnology on an atomic, molecular, and supramolecular scale.
We call them atoms.
A huge impact of nanotechnology in our society today is cancer treatment. Radiation and chemotherapy are all dependent upon the idea of singling out a single malignant cell and eliminating it. Now that could not be possible without nanotechnology.
The wings of a Morpho butterfly are some of the most beautiful structures in nature, and yet they contain no blue pigment. Artists use paint, dyes, and ink to make their creations. Nature draws on a palette of biological pigments, also known as biochromes. But there's another way of producing color. It's called structural color, and it harnesses the physics of light at the nanoscale. Morphos live mostly in the tropics. When resting, they fold their wings up, showing their dark earth-toned undersides. The brown, yellow, and black colors are generated by pigments. But the other side is all about structural color. It gives their wings a vibrant, iridescent blue hue. Light hits these ridges. A phenomena called constructive interference comes into the spacing within the ridges, which look like little Christmas trees. Perfectly reinforces specific wavelengths while canceling out others. This is why your eyes perceive that shimmering blue. Today, we're going to talk about how this brilliant blue can be used in solar panels, security, and phone screens.
Did you know that?
Did you know that the lifespan of a Morpho butterfly from egg to adult to death is just 115 days? That's less than a third of a year!
Now you know.
Most important ways that we can use the Morpho butterfly's nanostructures is in solar panels. Now, if you don't already know how solar panels work, they're created using both N and P layers of silicon cells. Now, the N layer of silicon cells has a bunch of the simple atoms of silicon in them, but they all have no spaces for extra electrons. They're all full. The P shell, however, has extra spaces where electrons could move to. The way that these electrons end up moving is that electrons are displaced by photons from the sun. They move through the external circuit, for example, that could be your whole house, and then they come back to the P layer of atoms within the solar panel. Now, this is a constant system that can refuel itself over and over again. However, over many years, for example, 3 decades, 25 years, we are noticing that an increase in solar panel uses has also caused a lot of chemical bad side effects. There's a lots of toxic waste caused by these solar panels. Specifically, solar panels that have exceeded their lifespan. Now, the problem with this now is solar panels have been hailed for so long as a great way to have green energy and a great way to start, especially in your home. Now, we're seeing that these can also have negative side effects for the environment, and some scientists are saying that it's actually a mistake to be using solar panels. So what can be done about it? There are so many solar panels that are currently in use today that it's hard to say that we should just scrap them altogether. Instead, what many scientists are saying is to instead make them more efficient so that we can use a smaller number of solar panels and reduce the negative impact they have upon the environment. One way we can do this is by using the Morpho butterfly's light scattering cones or pillars of random height in order to make sure that solar panels are the most efficient they can be. Once we use this technology, estimates say that the solar panels can be up to 2 times more effective as before, simply because all of the photons or light is directed into specifically the solar cells where they need to be. Not only this, but this is a relatively low-cost way of making the system more effective as a whole.
The Morpho butterfly's brilliantly blue wings also have the potential to improve security. By using the light diffraction properties of butterfly wings as its inspiration, Nanotech Security Corporation built materials with nano-sized holes to create a similar effect. When light shines onto these arrays of holes, the interference pattern of the light waves leads to a unique and hard-to-copy image. This so-called butterfly effect aims to fight forgery in currency, IDs, passports, and many consumer products. Imagine that an array of tiny nanoscaled holes with the required geometry was inserted onto pills or capsules. The resulting unique bright images would allow you to directly identify whether the pill was genuine or not. Just recently at TED 2014, ID badges featured a small iridescent panel with a 30-year TED logo. The image wasn't hologram, but was created by billions of nanoscale holes, making the logo easy to identify and hard to copy.
Lastly, these nanostructures inside of the Morpho butterfly's wings in the form of pillars can be used to make certain dyes. Now, scientists have to resort to certain chemicals such as yttrium to try to create this vibrant blue color that the Morpho butterfly creates with its nanostructures and optics. However, by using these nanostructures and optics, it is a lot safer for not only the environment, but for the scientists themselves who are making these things, because they don't have to be around these harsh chemicals that are very detrimental to not only their health, but again, also to the environments.
Please consider the following.
Consider the following. What if we take these nanostructures that's already inside of the butterfly's wings that causes it to have this vibrant blue color, but now apply it to our phones to try to make it so it can have low reflection? This is extremely beneficial to society today because obviously phones are very integrated into our youth. So if we have a way to reduce glare onto our phones when, say, in the summertime when the sun is always on it, it will cause consumers to buy the product more without the glare because it's a lot easier to use your phones outside.
Butterfly. Oh, how you scatter light, random pillars of height. Your design is so right, a butterfly. You increase efficiency of solar panels for me. So now it's time to use your awesome design. I know I need to mimic you. I want to use your wing design, Morpho butterfly. Your security systems are so cool, I think they give me one good reason. Morpho, come on, I live for you and me, and now I really come to see that life would be much better with your tech. Your design's Morpho butterfly.